97 WABC.
WABC New York and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
WABC.
WABC Chime Time, cousins, 7 o'clock. Well, thank you so much for coming and visiting us tonight. And, well, this is the place where it all started. So it's very comfortable for you, Cousin Brucie, and for all of my friends, all of these great stars that appear here with me. One in particular, I go back with him quite a while, because little Anthony, which is kind of, I always said to him, he ain't little, right? We'll find out about how did that all happen, because he ain't little, Anthony. He's giant Anthony, as far as I'm concerned. Do you know what I mean, Anthony? Little Anthony.
Yeah, well, you beat me up there, Brucie. You beat me up.
I know.
No,
Anthony,
I can tell the story of that. It has nothing to do with my stature or how tall I was. It actually began with Alan Freed.
Well, tell us about that. Let's start with that right now. I want to hear it from you again. I love the story.
Yeah. Well, legend says that when we did Kiss on My Pillow, one of the promoters at Gorn and N Records had taken the record to Alan Freed to WINS for his show at that time, and in those days you came from that genre, and that the jockey was king. They picked them what they wanted to hear, what they liked, and they kind of try to make sure that what they liked was something that the public would like. So they had that kind of freedom to do that, and he was picking out. He picked out a few records, and if he didn't like it, he put it on the side. And then they gave him Tears on My Pillow, and he said, "Whoa!" He said, "Boy, that girl sure can sing." And the record promoter said, "Oh, that's not a girl. That's a guy." And he said, "It's a guy? Oh, he must be awfully little." And he started saying it on the radio, assuming. He found out my name, which I'd actually met him years before. He put two and two together. And he just started saying Little Anthony, and that's how Little Anthony was cut out of the herd, as far as the Imperials are concerned. Like a lot of people say, "Hey, but what does it feel like to sing with the Imperials all these years?" I said, "No, I didn't sing with the Imperials. I sang with them. I wasn't in the Imperials anymore. Once they cut you out of the herd, you become sort of a front man, front lady's front lady, or front man, So that's how that came about. But I'm actually, because again, I'm getting much older now. They say when you get older, you get shorter, right? Except you, Bruce. You haven't.
Well, I don't know about you. Wait, Anthony, I know, let's see, I used to be 6'2.5". I'm now 6'8". And I know you were about 7'2".
Yeah. That's a whole new thing with you, man. But I was 8'5.5". What is it? Eight. No. What am I talking about? 5'8.5".
I got you mixed up.
Yeah, 5'8.5". But they tell you, you're losing half an inch or something when you get older. I don't know.
Right, that's
but
they
anyway,
say. I always remember, meeting you, I guess, at Palisades Park for the first time. And we go back a few years. And so, I'm going to meet little Anthony. I'm playing the records on, I guess it was WINS or maybe WABC at that time. And I figured, I'm going to meet some little guy, right? And because I knew, obviously. But, you came on stage. I said, wait a minute, this guy's not little. But then I realized, now everybody has to know Alan Freed. Really, for those of you listening in Tokyo or the Philippines or somewhere out west, somewhere with you're not familiar with the name Alan Freed. Really, I guess you can say he was like the Godfather, radio personality, DJ of rock and roll. He really brought it in. Anthony, there are a lot of people think that he coined the phrase rock and roll. That is not true, as you know. No. Now, rock and roll is an old expression from black culture, and it means really the sex act. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think it was Big Joe Turner was the one that really started going.
Yep.
With some of the records that he sang. But his show was known, as I remember, it was known, House Party? First it was Moondog, but he got sued by some guy that claims he was a real Moondog.
Yeah,
then
you know the
they
story?
talent for
I mean,
you.
that's a great story. I keep interrupting you, but yeah, Moondog was a guy when I was at WABC originally. We were on Air of the Americas, right across from the Hilton or something on 53rd Street. There was a guy that every day he dressed as a Viking. Listen to this. He wore rags,
Yeah,
right?
the guy.
And he wear a big hat, with Viking horns on it, and carried a spear. And he was called Moondog. Yeah. And I was the real Moondog. And then listen to this. This is the funny, and then I'll be quiet because I want you to talk. About every day at 5:30, I used to look out the window at WABC and look down on the street, and Moondog was picked up by a limousine with a chauffeur.
Really?
Yeah, that's
I never
honest
knew
to
where
God.
that guy came
Yeah.
I
He was
never
not
knew
a.
where he came from.
He was not a beggar. He was not a beggar. His name was
He
Lou.
was a hustler,
His name
yeah.
His name was Lewis Harden. By the way,
Well,
I
I'm
remember
done.
this so well. Anyway, let's talk about
done.
you. Let's talk about you.
Me.
How old? How old? And when did this start with you, Anthony? When did all this
gosh,
get
man,
together?
It started. I mean, my whole career. In fact, I did a whole thing with. Was interviewed once in, I think in Europe. I can't remember the end. They were interested in that, and the fact that I started when I actually, as a professional, I made my first record with a group called the DuPonts. That were all high school buddies, and we all went to Boys High School.
In Brooklyn.
And there was it was formed in the lunchroom where in those days they had after school programs for kids to keep them from getting in trouble. It really worked. And then they had these lunches where you'd have 2, 3, 4 periods at one time in this huge hall having lunch, and the teachers, I don't know. At that time, the singing groups were becoming the thing, a lot like the rapping groups, the urban type sound thing going. It was street corner music. It was just raw. We were like, we really didn't know what we were doing, but we knew how to harmonize, and we knew that what we were doing was turning on our peers, our kids, our age, and so the teachers loved it when we would sing in lunchtime in high school. And so I tell people a lot of times we had a lot of interesting people in the group off and on, or wanted to be in the group. One was Tommy Davis of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he came up with the Brooklyn Dodgers. He used to sing. Richie Havens. I mean, any given time we would all come together and just sing whatever the latest songs were out there. One of the songs that we loved singing was by the Cadillacs, called Gloria. Speedo was the lead singer. Mm-hmm. And we used to sing that song in the subways. We sang it everywhere. But really, all that began really in that particular era. Now, we did meet a guy by the name of Paul Winley, who owned his own record company called Winley Records. And he said, "Would you guys like to record?" Well, yeah, we'd like to be heard on the radio. Well, we didn't do much. We did a song called You, and we did a song called Prove It Tonight, but they never did anything. They were more tri-state, we were successful tri-state-wise, tri-state hits, but they weren't national hits, or for that matter, international hits. Didn't get that far. But that was the beginning of somebody actually giving you money to sing, because I would have given you money to let me sing. I mean, we used to go down in the subways, man, because of the echo was so good down there. And we really, really actually, I think the groups of that era really started these subway singers that you have today. Now, they've learned their lesson from watching us. We didn't have a little basket where you could put money in. If we knew that people would throw money in the basket, but what we were doing, we would have did it. But it evolved to the point where to this day you have people that down that subway, and some very talented people, where they actually make a living at that. We used to. I don't know. The subways are so bad these days, but that's how it started. And that was around 55. I was in Boys High School. I was in the annex, and then I went to the main building in Boys High, and that's where it began going. And then Winley heard about us, and he recorded us. And that was the first time we had to join the union We had to do all that stuff that we were kids. We didn't even understand all that stuff, but we did what we were told at that time, you know. And it was an interesting time. I talked to Terry Johnson quite a bit of the Flamingos, and we talked about the difference of how different groups sound and why did the groups out of Detroit sound differently from the groups that were in Cleveland, and for that matter in New York City. Actually, New York City sound was very unique, but there also was another sound also, Brucie, and as you know, it was coming out of Jersey. We call them the Jersey guys or Jersey singers. That's where the Bruce Springsteens come in and the Duprees and all those kind of groups came out of Jersey. Then you had groups that were coming out of Staten Island. And you had, of course, Dion in the Bronx. So everybody had their unique style. But there was no name for it. Because rock and roll became the word that you said about the music to explain it. We just got caught up in the tide, and everybody was called rock and roll, you know, and rock and roll singers. But really, in our eyes, we were R&B contemporary singers. We really were R&B. Like you remember I'm going a long way back, man. There's groups like the Crows and the Heartbeats and the Harp Tones and on and on and on and on and on. And the El Diablos out of Chicago, the Dells out of Chicago, and on and on. So all these groups developed their own particular style from where they lived and where they were. Actually, I'm out to put a plug in. I do this on I don't think that it's ABC's competitors because they're cable. You guys are like network, you know. But I do a show. Oh, heck with it, Sirius Radio. I do a show.
Yeah. Well, listen, Sirius Radio. I spent quite a few years,
you and I
double digits.
Talking and
that's all right.
We did a lot of talking, a lot of interviews there.
Yes, we did. And that was a very great time of my life. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I am thrilled to be home, but I know of your show on Sirius. And by the way, we got many comments on Facebook, and people talk to me who listen to your show. And one thing comes a common denominator, Anthony. You are a great storyteller. You really do. You have that.
That's what they tell me.
You are. No, you are. And it comes out in your music. That's why. Remember, you and I talked about that. Not only is it music, R&B, rock and roll, but there's drama. You are an actor.
Well, yes, before I was called Little Anthony in ancient times, I was an actor. I actually studied in StarTime Studios as a kid, and my mother was like a stage mom. I did many plays. I did local plays. I was trained as an actor. Now, most people don't know that. And the music, I kind of say, was my second love, because I love to act. And I did many, many things. I did movies. People didn't even know I was in it because I was in character. So what I did, probably, I married the two of them conveniently together. And it was easy for me, especially when I started collaborating with Teddy Randazzo and Don Costa. I was able to take Teddy's stories that he told me and injected myself into it. And so when I would sing a song like Hurt So Bad, I used the theory that Sinatra did of emphasizing the syllables. Or as the great George Golden told me, who do you love singing? What's one of your favorite singers? And I said, well, Nat King Cole was one of them. He says, you know how he enunciates his words? And each syllable is very important. He said, I want you to do that. So actually, Little Anthony was created from that part of acting and then being in high school and all these different things that were put into my life, that I started using all of those things and actually developing a sound. I didn't know I was doing it, but that's what was happening.
Well, that's what happens with a lot of people. You're developing this eclectic, this cultural feeling of where you come from. Like you said, that's very important. Where you come from, it melds into what you're doing, and here you are, with 50s, 60s, 70s, and and look, I know you had a love for the 30s and 40s because I can hear it. I know you grabbed that stuff. Sure.
Yeah, my dad was my dad. I had a musical family. Everybody in my family were musicians. My brothers, Donald was one of the best. He's self-taught composer, and he had a heck of a voice. And my brother Elliot and my brother Sonny. My brother Elliot played drums, and my brother Sonny played sax. And my mother was a gospel singer, with the Nazareth Baptist gospel singer. It was well known. Like I knew Sam Cooke when he wasn't Sam Cooke. When he was with the Soul Stirrers.
Right.
And he used to come to my aunt's house, my Aunt Sarah, and he would always say, "Miss Ford, how you doing, Miss Ford?" And that's when I first met him. And so I'm really blessed in that way. Music has always been a part of me as long as I can remember. And then my mother told me, and my father, that her great-great-grandfather was considered one of the great gospel singers in the South, in Savannah, Georgia, and all around the South. And I didn't know that. So genetically, it just seemed like everybody was a musician. My dad played with some of the big bands at that time. He played with Buddy Johnson. He played with Etta Johnson. He played with Sinclair's. I mean, everybody. In fact, I was a kid. He dragged me one day to the Savoy. I don't know how old I was. I had to be 8, 9. And he dragged me to the Savoy, and I actually introduced me to Duke Ellington. That's when I met Duke Ellington. And over the years knew him, and so when you have that kind of interjection of music in that genre of every kind of music, you really do. It rub off. It should rub off on you. It sure doggone rubbed off on me.
Boy, it sure did.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Mrs. Mannix. Ethel Mannix was my music teacher in elementary school, PS 67 in Brooklyn, in Fort Greene Projects. She was the one that introduced me to the classics. Now, you folks out there don't know that. I'm a big opera fan. Yeah. I've been talking to a friend of mine who has a place in De Luca in Italy. He's been trying to get me to come over there and go with him a short train ride to La Scala because I'm a great fan of Puccini and Verdi. Now, a lot of people say, well, how could that be? You just... No, I'm an enigma, I guess. There's a lot of parts to me. I confuse myself.
Anthony, I can just hear you doing La Bohème or La Scala. I mean, I can just hear it. It's possible. Now, let me ask you this. You are, as I said, we can spend hours and hours. You and I have never, ever worked, sort of run out of words. Where are we going to see you? What's happening? In the near
right
future.
Now, I'm actually recording. I'm doing a Christmas album. You know what, Brucie?
No, tell me about it.
We never did a Christmas album. Not like 12, 11 songs or 12 songs. We never did. We were one of those people that never did the Christmas album. Why, I don't know. We're in good company. Michael Jackson didn't do it. But there's very, very, very many performers that did not do it, as well as many performers who did do it. You know what I mean? So Sirius Radio said, we have no catalog on you. When you do your show around Christmas time, they found maybe like 3 Christmas songs I did. 3 I did, oh my gosh, in the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s, with H.B. Barnum in L.A., and we just did it on a what they call a compilation album. Mm-hmm. Like the Platters, or some bunch of people was on it, but we never had a complete Christmas album. So they kind of hinted to me, boy, that'd be nice if we had that in our catalog. We can pull on that when Christmas time comes. And so I just thought to myself, well, wait a minute. With the technology today, you can record an album in your bathroom. I mean, AI is like unbelievable. and I got with a man here in Florida. We call him affectionately Mongo. His name is Mark Friedman, one of the finest pianists out here. And I was blessed to know him. And there's Charlie Colello out here, obviously the Four Seasons, one of the great arrangers. A lot of good people down here in Florida. And I ended up telling him about it. He said, "Wow, why don't you go to my house? I got a studio." So I'm actually at this time, today, I just came from there like 5 hours in his studio we're on our fifth song. I'm not going to tell you what they are, the surprises.
Okay.
Are we
going Anthony? Are we going to recognize some of the Christmas songs, or is that original stuff?
No, I had somebody called me the other day and said, "Who was it?" Oh, Johnny Britt told me, "Why don't you write one for yourself?" I said, "No, I think I'm going to stay to traditional songs that I enjoy, that I like." And the thing Sinatra once said, if you do songs that other people became famous by, you better do it comparable or better. And if you can't do it comparable or better, don't do it. You know what I mean? So I really thought about what would happen what would I do with a song like Little Drummer Boy, or Winter Wonderland, or whatever. I'm just picking songs out of my head, out of the air. But that's how this is being developed. I actually will listen to as many Christmas songs I can, and then I try to I'll hear the song, and if it's compatible with me when my ear hears it, and I say, I can do that song well. I can do that even if somebody had big hit on it.
In your style, huh? In your style. Yeah. So Anthony, let me ask you this. You're wonderful to talk to. You're so easy. Anthony, when are we going to hear this album? When am I going to get a copy of it?
This is really being done for next year. Because we're too late now,
All right.
Too late.
So we have something to look forward to next year's present.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a project this is a labor of love. It's like I did do Silent Night, and I will be doing a lot of Christian type and secular type Christmas songs that people are aware of. We even did one. I'm not going to tell you the name of it, but we did it almost in a jazz style. Like a lot of people are going to be hearing me singing in another kind of a way that they had no idea that I had the ability to do that. That's the freedom of being at my age in this business. If we paid our dues, so I'm really not held to anything. I can just do it if I want to.
That's right. Well, that's
jumped on board.
I'll tell you something that's so wonderful about your career. All right, so listen. By the way, are you doing the summer tour again? You going to be on that? Everyone loved that.
Yeah, Brucie, I think I talked to you about that. The one I did in 23 was tough because I wasn't feeling very well, and it was really tough. We did 61 dates everywhere in the United States of these Americas. You know what I mean? And it was, I kind of thought I was this, I'm the kind of guy that has this young guy inside me. He's 32 years old. And I don't tell him that he's not 32 because if I do, I'll upset him. No, you're not 32.
He's going to leave.
I thought I can do this tour. But when I got on that tour, about 3 weeks into it, I said, what did I get myself into?
Anthony, I hear that. Yeah. I hear this exact thing, this moment we're talking about from just about everybody. Listen, we're going to continue with another part of this. Obviously, there's so much more I got to ask you. Ava, one of our wonderful executives, has prepared a medley of some of your great recordings. And we're going to end this. Would you introduce that medley? And thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have you back at PNC. You are absolutely delightful, and you are a real Renaissance man. That's with capital R's bold.
I could say the same about you. I want to tell the folks out there that you are the last of the great disc jockeys that came up. You are in the A class of the cats that came up, and I say that not loosely, but from my heart, because I knew them all. From Jocko's to Alan Freed's to who I know I'm missing a bunch of people. Tommy Smalls and Dr. Jive. Sometimes my mind goes into neutral. Jerry Blavitt. on and on and on. And you're right there. And if there's a Mount Rushmore somewhere, and
Well,
great.
good company.
I'd be awfully mad if they didn't put your face up there, ma'am. You are
Well,
a delight.
let me tell you something. Long as you're there beside me, I'm happy. Introduce your medley. I love you, Anthony. I love you. You're wonderful. Could you introduce this medley? And thank you so much. You are a delight.
What songs are there? I can just.
Let's see. Well, there's
One
one
on the
that you
head, Hurt So
you get
Bad,
crazy
Jimmy,
about.
Jimmy.
It hurts so bad, and two kinds of people.
Which was my favorite song, by the way, of all the songs we did together with Don Costa and Teddy.
I thought it was Coco, Shimmy Shimmy Coco Bob.
Oh, you wouldn't do that. Come on.
I know.
You
I'm just. I know. I'm just teasing you. All right. Would you introduce this medley?
Yes. Yeah, well, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is a real pleasure. I did it. I confess, I did it. I did these songs, and songs like Shimmy Shimmy Cocoa Bop.
Ladies and gentlemen, little Anthony!
Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa bop, shimmy, shimmy, bop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa bop, shimmy, shimmy, bop. Sitting in a native hut all alone and blue. Sitting in a native hut wondering what to do. Along came a native girl, did a native dance. It was like in paradise, put me in a trance. Going shimmy, shimmy, cocoa bop, shimmy, shimmy, bop. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa bop, shimmy, shimmy, bop. When you see me once, will you see me again? After tonight, let's be more than just friends. 'Cause I'm falling in love with you. 'Cause I'm falling in love with you. If you kiss me now, will you kiss me again? After tonight, let's try to make it begin. 'Cause I'm falling in love with you.
Just two kinds of people in the world. Why can't we fall in love? Just two kinds of people in the world. They are a boy and girl.
Boy meets girl and love begins. Oh, what a feeling you get from within. For I should know, 'cause I'm in love. I'm the boy who told the girl of the stars up above. Take me back, I'm begging, please. Take me back, I'm on my knees. For you to scold me, hurt me, hold me. Darling, take me back when you belong to me. I have a jealous mind. Too late, I learned that you were not the cheating kind. Take me back, I'm begging, please. Take me back, I'm on my knees. For you to scold me, hurt me, hold me, darling, take me back. I'm on the outside looking in, and I wanna be back on the inside with you. You are with somebody new, and I don't know what to do, 'cause I'm still in love with you. I'm on the outside looking in. I don't wanna be left on the outside all alone. In my heart, caused by you. If we could start anew, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd gladly take you back and tempt the hand of fate. Tears on my pillow, pain in my heart, caused by you.
Oh, I love this. Like, I love that song. Boy, that early in my career with that. Wasn't he delightful? Isn't he delightful? Really amazing. It just made, I can listen to him talk, right? I talk to him and then I just let him go. He is interesting, natural, and so bright. Oh, is he bright? Okay, my cousins, thank you, little Anthony.